Good morning, and welcome back to PWT Rely News with your host, Mosey Along. And this morning, we're heading back to the Cold War, to a machine that was so strange, so massive, and so misunderstood that Western intelligence analysts didn't even know what to call it. They simply labeled it the Caspian Sea Monster. It wasn't a submarine, weren't an airplane, and it wasn't a ship. It was something in between. A Soviet aeroplane, a ground-effective vehicle designed to skim just a few feet above the water at jet aircraft speeds. And for a brief moment in history, it was one of the most secretive military experiments on Earth. The Caspian Sea Monster was officially known as the KM Aeroplane. Built in the 1960s, it stretched nearly 300 feet long, weighed over 500 tons, and carried 10 massive jet engines mounted across its nose like a row of steel lungs. It flew, but not like a plane. It floated, but not like a ship. It hovered in a narrow cushion of air created by its own wings, a phenomenon called ground effect. This allowed it to travel at 300 miles per hour, just above the surface of the Caspian Sea, invisible to radar and nearly impossible to intercept. To American analysts watching grainy satellite images, it looked like a creature rising from the water, too big to categorize, too fast to ignore. The Soviet Union, at that time it was called, for them who don't know, wanted a machine that could move troops and equipment faster than any ship, fly lower than any plane, avoid radar detection, carry enormous payloads, and operate in a theater where NATO had limited reach. The KM Equinophine was meant to be a game changer, a hybrid vehicle that could outrun Navy vessels and outmaneuver aircraft by staying in the thin, invisible layer between sea and sky. It was a Cold War idea born from Cold War logic. If you can't outbuild your rival, out-innovate them. When the Caspian Sea Monster was tested, folks, it stunned observers. This giant machine could lift off from the water, skim the surface at jet speed, and carry more weight than any aircraft of its era. It was designed to deliver troops, launch missiles, transport heavy equipment, and potentially strike targets before radar could register its approach. The Soviets imagined fleets of aeroplanes racing across the Caspian, the Black Sea, and even the Arctic. For a moment, it looked like the future. Stand aside, Kirk. But the Caspian Sea Monster had problems, big ones. It was enormous, difficult to control, and extremely sensitive to weather. It needed calm seas, long stretches of open water, and perfect conditions to operate safely. Maintenance was a nightmare. Piloting required nerves of steel. Superman! And the Soviet economy was beginning to strain under the weight of its own ambitions. Eventually, the KM crashed during testing. It was too damaged to repair, too expensive to rebuild, and too complex to justify continuing. The dream of aeroplane fleets faded. The wreckage of the Caspian Sea Monster sat for decades, half submerged, half forgotten, a relic of a moment when the Soviet Union tried to leap beyond the limits of conventional engineering. But the idea, it never died. Russia later built the Lund-class aeroplane, armed with 6 anti-ship missiles. It flew briefly, then retired. Today, the Lund sits on a beach in Dagestan, a monument to Cold War imagination. And the KM, the original Caspian Sea Monster, remains one of the most extraordinary machines ever built. A reminder that innovation sometimes looks like madness and that the line between sea and sky is thinner than we think. The Caspian Sea Monster wasn't just a vehicle, folks. It was a moment, a glimpse of what happens when a nation tries to outrun physics, politics, and its own limitations. A machine too strange to classify, too fast to ignore, and too ambitious to survive. But you know what has survived, my friends? Let me tell you, for those who live in the lower Heidelberg or Bucks County and you need to go somewhere fast, under the radar, clean, courteous drivers, call up Fleetwood Cab Service at 484-899-9600 and tell them that Elizabeth for pwtread.kinsta.cloud, CLOUD, sent you. And be surprised at the luxury of driving with professionals. So stay alert, keep informed, and remember, your next idea might be something the Secret Service would be interested in. I think about that. I was y'all. See you later, Gators.